Peace. Early spring, and I'm out here surveying all the work I need to do. Now, this is a new lot that we just acquired, last August, and it was a house sitting here and there. So last summer they came and took that one down and took this one down, and we acquired this one. So we're in the process of getting these two, but it's a 6 to 12 month wait after demolition before it goes up for sale. But we do have this one, so I gotta get out here and clean it up. See all of this trash, because somebody was squatting in this house here, so they was just using this lot that was fenced in as a dump. Good thing it ain't that bad, but the garage that was sitting here was horrible. But good thing that was sitting on a concrete slab. So I'm out here cleaning up these beds, and I was going to talk about these bags, these grow bags, briefly. These grow bags are really cool. Last season I grew tomatoes in these bags, right? Well, since it's so early in the season, I'm like, man, what can I do with these bags right quick? Boom, let me go ahead and plant some cut greens. Cut greens being lettuce mix, arugula, spinach, salad mixes, things of that nature, right? Spring mix, that's cut green. And one of the things that I hate when I'm doing cut greens in the ground is that I might have to deal with a bunch of weeds, right? So every year I potentially create new areas or just retop something really heavy. Like that bed over there, I just made it last year. So it was topped really heavy with wood chips, and then I came on top of it with my grow medium, right? And I planted arugula, cut green. Well, this year, it may be a few weeds in there that grew up through the wood chips. It may be weeds that blew in with the wind during pollination time, right? So what I would generally do, I can go on top of this with a layer of leaves or cardboard and then put a grow medium, preventing the weeds from coming up in my salad mix, right? So that's building your beds up. That's what I do. I don't generally like to go into this soil. I don't like this soil, right? All of the soil that we had tested is come in well under the lead range, okay? Which I do believe is 400 parts per million. It's been a while, but it's 400 parts per million. And we always come in under that. And these particular lots, I'm pretty sure, are going to come in under that because the company is not allowed to dump lead laden soil back as backfill. Well, back in the 80s, there was really no regulation, so a lot of those older lots, 80s and 90s, were backfilled with garbage. So that's why a lot of the older lots have lead in them. Half of the houses was buried into the hole, right? So we had to come up with rules and regulations to make sure that these big contractors is not doing that. Just because you can afford to get this contract, you're gonna have to do it right. Whereas before, they didn't have to do it right. So I'm pretty sure all of these lots will come in under lead, as well as I'm going to test them because I want to make sure, because we know the companies, they're on record who backfilled all of these lots, right? So we're going to test. But back to these pots. So I'm going to put greens mixes and cut greens in the pots because they won't have weeds, right? They won't have weeds. And another thing that makes this pot cool is the fact that you can adjust it. So if I was dealing with a bigger plant, I could make that pot taller and fill it up. If I'm dealing with a smaller plant, say like cut greens and lettuce, who has a shallow root system, right, and not a deep feeder, I can make that pot in half or even smaller than that. I really don't even need that pot that tall, and that's maybe about 8 inches. I could do a 6-inch pot and be just fine on my cut greens, right? But then again, I could turn around in the same season and fill this pot, just lift this up and fill that pot all the way up and plant collard greens or squash or something like that, a deep feeder, right? Okra, a deep feeder. So that's what I'm doing right quick. I pulled all the old tomato vines out and I'm rolling the pots back down so that I can plant greens mix, cut greens, arugula, things of that nature without any weeds coming up in my salad mix. And then, depending on how well it goes, I may just leave it. It really depends on poundage. I'm thinking if I can get a pound per pot, that'd be beautiful. So I'm gonna go for that and measure out and see how much I can really get per pot. And that would be amazing if you can get a pound per pot, because you know if you got 50 pots, you got 50 pounds, right? Which is 100 units. You break the pound in half, so you got 100 units out of 50 pots, which is good in my opinion. And it should be easier to weed. You can sit on the crate, don't have to sit on the ground. I mean, easy to cut and harvest, and you won't have to pick weeds out of it. So one thing I will say about these pots is that they'll drain fairly quickly, so you got to make sure that you're giving them sufficient water. Yeah, but I like the fact that they can be adjusted for tall plants or small plants, shallow plants and deep plants, all in one season if you need to. Peace.